given. That was in 1906. You know, how much more plainly can God state it? This call is now to be given. But, dear ones, there will always be doubters. There will always be some who allow the devil to get them to believe that when God says now, he really means later. Does God lie? Does God mislead his people? The answer, of course, is no. It's impossible for God to lie. So then, if God has said, now is the time for his people to give the message of the loud cry in Revelation 18, he means now. He doesn't mean later. But here's some other testimonies stating the very same thing. Let's go with the weight of evidence here. If you look at quote number 4. In Signs of the Times, Volume 3, page 165, dated November 19, 1894, we're told that the time has come to sound the loud cry. In Fundamentals of Christian Education, on page 362, dated March 21, 1895, the last call of mercy and warning is now to be given. In Review and Herald, Volume 3, page 593, dated July 26, 1898, the time has come to give this message, which is the special work of his church. From manuscript release number 311, page 47, this is manuscript 177, dated 1899. The time has come to give this message of Revelation 18. From manuscript releases, volume 9, page 290, this is letter 28, February 17, 1900. The message of Revelation 18 is the message for this time. In manuscript releases, volume 9, page 290, this is letter 86, June 18, 1900. Revelation 18 is now to be given to all parts of the world. From manuscript releases, volume 10, page 315, this is letter 121, August 13, 1900. Today, we are to be announcing the message of the third and fourth angel. Continuing. From Review and Herald, Volume 4, page 251, dated January 1, 1901, first of the year in 1901. The time has come to give this message of warning. From Review and Herald, Volume 5, page 61, this is July 28, 1904. We are to advance the proclamation of this message. In manuscript releases, volume 10, page 219, this is dated September 17, 1909. The time has come to give this last warning message. And then Prophets and Kings, page 187. It's also found in Review and Herald, volume 6, page 382, dated November 20, 1913. The message for today is Revelation 18. So God, through Sister White, stated under inspiration that Revelation 18 is already the message for today, that it was now to be given. Because the loud cry of the third angel had already begun, was already swelling into a loud cry, and was already lightening the earth with its glory. How much more clear can God be? But it was also revealed that there would be some perverse men among the Adventist church, among the independent ranks, among those that believe present truth, there would be some perverse men who would try to divert this message from being given until some time in the future. And so the loud cry would have to struggle and to try and lighten the earth with its glory, because there was not enough voices to give it. So then the question comes up, are you one of these perverse people who are working to hinder this glorious message of Revelation 18 from going forth because you believe that it's not yet time for the loud cry to be given? Or are you one of those who are awake and desire to give this message now because God says to, so that the loud cry can swell and fill this earth to the glory of God? Dear ones, we're living in the time of the swelling of the loud cry. And God is holding out to each one of us the blessed honor and privilege to have a part now in helping to swell this message to the loudest cry possible, to now fill this earth with the glory of God. I mean, what blessed possibilities are held out to you and me and to others today. All we have to do is grasp them, to submit to God's will, and then raise our voices in giving the message He says to give. Don't allow the devil to keep you in a position of inaction, believing in a futuristic doctrine that it's not yet time for the latter rain to fall, that it's not yet time for the loud cry to be given, that it's not yet time for the last message of mercy to go forth to all the world, or that it's not yet time for probation of all the churches to be closed, or that it's not yet time to separate, or the beginning of the loud cry is not yet here. Because everything that I have shared has already come. If you look at quote number 5, in Selected Messages, Book 2, page 114, the work to be done now is that of sounding this last message of mercy to a fallen world. The work will grow deeper and become more earnest to the very close of time. And all who are laborers together with God will contend most earnestly for the faith once delivered to the saints. They will not be turned from the present message, which is already lightening the earth with its glory. Nothing is worth contending for but the glory of God. The only rock that will stand is the rock of ages. The truth as it is in Jesus is the refuge in these days of error. So our refuge is in the truth. And the truth is that it's time to give the loud cry. Here's another quote. This is from Fundamentals of Christian Education, page 362 and 363. The messenger, this is a heavenly messenger, turned to the congregation and said, "Do you believe the prophecies? Do you, who know the truth, understand that the last message of warning is now being given to the world? The last call of mercy is now being heard? Do you believe that Satan has come down with great power, working with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in every place? Do you believe that great Babylon has come up in remembrance before God, and that soon she will receive from God's hand double for all her sins and iniquities? If the enemy can keep workers out of the field on any pretext, he will do so. So the heavenly messenger, this is in vision that Ellen White saw, the heavenly messenger turned to the Adventist congregation and said, it's now time to give the last message of warning in the loud cry. And the devil will do anything he can to keep you from doing so. Quite amazing, dear ones. Over 100 years ago. And it's still taking place. What you need to understand is that this Babylon message in Revelation 18 allows everyone to clearly distinguish between those who are following and working for God versus those who are following and working for the devil. God says, go forward and preach the loud cry. The devil says, stay where you are and don't preach it. So now all you have to do is examine the messages of individuals claiming to be preaching the truth. Are they giving the last message of mercy? If they're not, then they're working for the devil. I mean, how much more clear can you be? So then, where are you in this scenario? Are you working for God? Do you desire to work for God? Then plainly and boldly give the message that Babylon is the church, fallen because of her errors and sins, because of her rejection of the truth sent to her from heaven. But if you won't preach that message, may God wake you out of sleep. May God do everything that he possibly can to break the spell of inactivity that the devil has you in. I pray that you will realize your dire situation. May the Spirit open your eyes to clearly understand the times in which we live, and then grant you the grace and the courage to stand up for God, be counted on his side, and then give your message that God states for you to give. So if what you're hearing today is really true, that it is time to give the loud cry message of Revelation 18, what will this message do? Remember, the Sunday law is not here, and yet it's time to give the message. What will this do in giving this message? Let's see what God declares. If you look at quote number 6, this is from Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 4, page 424 and 425. It's also in Great Controversy. I think it's page 606 and 607. The sins of Babylon will be laid open. The fearful results of a union of church and state, the inroads of spiritualism, the stealthy but rapid progress of the papal power, all will be unmasked. By these solemn warnings, the people will be stirred. In other words, they're awaked, they're awoken. They're no longer sleeping, they're stirred now. Continuing, thousands upon thousands have never listened to words like these. In amazement, they hear the testimony that Babylon is the church, fallen because of her errors and sins, because of her rejection of the truth sent to her from heaven. The people go to their former teachers with the eager inquiry, are these things so? The ministers present fables, prophesy smooth things to soothe their fears and quiet the awakened conscience. But many refuse to be satisfied with the mere authority of men and demand a plain "Thus saith the Lord." The popular ministry, like the Pharisees of old, are filled with anger as their authority is questioned. They denounce the message as of Satan and stir up the sin-loving multitudes to revile and persecute those who proclaim it. As the controversy extends into new fields, the minds of the people are called to God's downtrodden law. Satan is astir. The power attending the message only maddens those who oppose it. The clergy put forth almost superhuman efforts to shut away the light, lest it should shine upon their flocks. By every means at their command, they endeavor to suppress the discussion of these vital questions. The church appeals to the strong arm of civil power, and in this work, papists are solicited to come to the help of Protestants. The movement for Sunday enforcement becomes more bold and decided. The law is invoked against commandment keepers. What came first? The preaching of the message that Babylon is the church. In other words, Revelation 18, the loud cry message. Then the law was invoked against commandment keepers. The message is given first, and then this brings on the passing of the Sunday law. It is not the passing of the Sunday law that signals the time to give the loud cry message. And the spirit of prophecy, where this passage appears, was printed in 1884. About 10 years before it was time to give the loud cry. God was trying to prepare his people. And the devil was very successful in keeping the people from recognizing the truth. So the message of the third and fourth angel is given first. This message awakens the wicked and the good people in the world. The wicked fight against the message. They appeal to the civil government, and the Sunday law is then passed. If you look at quote number 7. Today, as in the days of Elijah, the line of demarcation between God's commandment-keeping people and the worshiper of false gods is clearly drawn. How long halt ye between two opinions, Elijah cried. If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. 1 Kings 18:21. And the message for today is, Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Revelation 18:2, 4, and 5. In other words, probation's closed for the church. Continuing. The time is not far distant when the test will come to every soul. The observance of the false Sabbath will be urged upon us.